Hey everyone, and welcome. So, if you are currently trying to conceive, or honestly, even if you're just looking to understand your own body a little bit better, you have absolutely heard of OPKs, Ovulation Predictor Kits. Now, they might look a whole lot like pregnancy tests, but they work totally differently. And let's be real, they can be incredibly confusing if you don't know exactly what you're looking for. So, today we are stripping away all that confusing medical jargon. In this explainer, I'm going to give you a clear step-by-step masterclass on exactly how to use these kits correctly, how to read them without second guessing yourself, and how to time things just right. Okay, let's dive into this. Here is our roadmap. First, we'll cover the simple science of ovulation. Second, choosing your test. Third, deciding if OPKs are actually right for you. Fourth, the math and the clock. And finally, reading your results and building your action plan. All right, part one, the simple science of ovulation. Before you can master the test itself, we need to understand exactly what these little plastic sticks are looking for inside your body. It's not magic, right? It's just biology. Standard ovulation strips are specifically hunting for a hormone called LH, which stands for luteinizing hormone. Now, right before you ovulate, your brain releases this massive wave of LH. We are talking up to 10 times the normal amount. Doctors call this the LH surge. I want you to just think of this surge as the ultimate glowing green light signal from your brain, basically screaming at your ovary, but it is turn to act. So let's look at how this timeline actually plays out. Once that LH green light flashes in your system, your body shifts into high gear. After the surge happens, ovulation, which is the actual physical release of the egg from the ovary, usually happens within the next 24 to 36 hours. The stick is just predicting the event. It doesn't mean the event is happening the exact second you're standing there taking the test. And here is exactly why time in this whole process matters so incredibly much. Once your ovary releases that egg, it only lives for about 24 hours. That's literally it, just one single day. It is a very, very short window of opportunity for fertilization to actually take place. Now, what's really interesting about this is the dramatic contrast here. While the egg only lives for a day, sperm are surprisingly resilient. They can actually live inside your body for up to 5 days. So think about it. If you sucks too early, the sperm might just be hanging around and could die off before the egg even makes an appearance. Catching that LH surge is your absolute golden ticket because it ensures sperm are already there and waiting right when the egg drops. Moving right along to section 2, choosing your ovulation test. If you've ever stood in the family planning aisle at the pharmacy, you know there is a totally overwhelming variety of tests on the market. Boxes everywhere, making all sorts of wild promises. But here's the biggest secret the marketing departments really don't want you to stress over. All 3 main types of tests you see on the shelves are essentially identical when it comes to accuracy. They are all 99% accurate. Yeah, when used correctly. The only real difference between them comes down to cost, format, and quite literally, how you prefer to handle your own pee. Let's break down your exact options. First up, you have strips. These are just simple, narrow paper strips. You pee in a cup, dip the strip for 5 to 10 seconds, lay it flat, and you're done. They are incredibly cheap, which makes them great for buying in bulk if you test a lot. But yeah, you do have to deal with collection cups. Next, we have cassettes. These are flat plastic casings with a little window. You still pee in a cup, but then you use a dropper to transfer a few drops over. They're very neat and organized, making the lines super easy to read, but they do require cups and droppers, so the most handling steps. Finally, midstream tests. This is the classic stick with a handle and a cap. You just hold the absorbent tip directly in your urine stream. They offer the ultimate convenience. They're fast, clean, and really discreet if you need a test at work or something. But naturally, all that extra plastic makes them the most expensive option per test. So just pick whatever fits your budget and your lifestyle. Okay, section 3. Are OPKs right for you? Before you rush out and spend your hard-earned money, it's really important to know that these tools aren't a perfect fit for absolutely everybody. Ovulation kits are fantastic if you have regular cycles. They make tracking highly predictable. But if your cycles are all over the place, tracking can get pretty tricky. Plus, there is one major exception we have to talk about: PCOS, or polycystic ovary syndrome. If you have PCOS, your body might just naturally have high baseline levels of LH floating around all the time. And that can cause those test strips to give you incredibly frustrating false positives when you aren't actually ovulating at all. So if that sounds like you, standard OPKs might not be your best bet, and it's definitely worth having a chat with your doctor. Section 4, the math and the clock. So the crucial point here is figuring out exactly when you should start dipping those sticks so you don't miss your surge. The trick is established in your baseline. It's just a simple 2-step math equation. Step 1, Kate your average cycle length. So from day 1 of one period to day 1 of the next period and subtract 14. That resulting number is your predicted ovulation day. Step 2, you want to start testing 4 days before that predicted day. This makes sure you catch the surge as it's rising. For example, let's say you have a classic 28-day cycle. 28 minus 14 equals 14. You likely ovulate on day 14. Therefore, you should pull out the tests and start checking on day 10 of your cycle. Simple as that. But listen to me carefully on this next part. It is not just about the day. The time of day matters tremendously. Unlike a pregnancy test, do not use your first morning urine. I know it's a habit, but don't do it. Your brain actually releases LH early in the morning, and it takes several hours for that hormone to physically filter down into your pee. If you test first thing when you wake up, you will probably miss the search completely. Your actual magic window to test is between 10 a.m. and 2 p.m. Which brings us to our final section, Section 5, reading your results and taking action. So you've done the math, you've taken the test right at noon, but how do you actually read the thing? Here is honestly the biggest point of confusion for so many of us. With a pregnancy test, we are deeply trained that any line, even a super faint little squinter, is a positive. But with an ovulation test, a faint line is a negative result. It's so absolutely crucial to unlearn those pregnancy test rules when you are looking at an OPT. So what does a real positive actually look like? Well, to confirm your LH surge, it depends on the specific tool you bought. If you're using line-based tests, like the cheap strips, the cassettes, or the traditional midstream sticks, you'll see a control line and a test line. For it to be a true positive, your test line must be as dark or darker than the control line. If it's even a little bit lighter, it's negative. Now, if you decided to spend a little extra on a digital midstream test, you get to skip the whole line game completely. The digital screen will literally just give you a clear, unmistakable smiley face when your surge is happening. And once you see that beautifully dark line on that flashing smiley face, here is your action plan. It is officially go time. First, you should plan to have sex the day of the positive result and the day after. Second, because we know from earlier that sperm lives for up to 5 days, it never hurts to have sex leading up to your positive test just to cover all your bases. And third, here is my ultimate pro tip for you. Once you get that clear positive result, stop testing for the month. Seriously, put the box away in the cabinet. Your LH levels are naturally going to bounce up and down for the rest of your cycle. Continuing to pee on sticks is only going to confuse you and waste your money. You found the surge, you did the deed, now you just wait. See, tracking your ovulation really doesn't have to be this big, overwhelming chore. Just pick the test style that fits your daily routine, keep an eye out for that green light hormone, trust your body, and above all, give yourself some grace on this journey. If you want to take your learning a step further, I highly recommend you watch our Explain It on the Menstrual Cycle. It breaks down exactly how those follicles grow, release hormones, and trigger ovulation in so much more detail. So on to these new tools and the math perfectly on your side. What will you discover about your body's unique rhythm this month? Thank you so much for hanging out and learning with me today, and I'll see you in the next Explainer.